What is up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Make Every Second Count Live with me, your host and international award-winning Make Every Second Count speaker. Oh man, am I pumped up to say that? I don't know why, but that is amazing to me right there. I can't believe that I am international and I am actually known for speaking internationally. I find that to be awesome. But I ask you if you would please share this episode out. Invite all kinds of people to watch this episode. And don't forget to give us all kinds of thumbs up, hearts, brown fish. I can't do that with it and say it, but frowny faces, cry faces. You can even give us angry faces. Just help us trick the algorithm on any of the socials that we're on. And I would like to say thank you guys so much for watching. But with no further ado, I would like to bring to the stage the man, the myth, the legend, Ray Young.
Hey,
Hey,
Jeff,
Ray,
thanks so
how are
much for
you
having me
doing?
on your show, man. It's great to be here.
Oh, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here with me and my viewers. So, I have to ask you if you go through a short introduction, but I'm going to be inviting a few people on my phone, so I'm looking down, but I am listening.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, I'm an executive leadership coach. I'm also an international speaker. I'm an author, business consultant. I'm a business owner and operator. So I really believe that I bring the best of both worlds together. I've been speaking and coaching for 35 years and actually started my first business. Well, it was almost 46 years ago, and
Wow.
been a serial entrepreneur since then, and it really brought those gifts together to really impact a lot of people, to help them excel in their personal lives and in their professional lives, build their businesses in a way that they can really excel and scale and really be a blessing to a lot of folks. And it's been a great journey, and I'm really excited to share with your Make Every Second Count audience. I love the name of it. I think it's so vital to never
Awesome.
miss an opportunity and make the most
No,
of every moment we get.
yeah. Don't make the seconds count, make every second count.
There you go. I love it.
Yeah. So I happen to know because I was involved in a very serious car accident. I spent 2.5 months in a coma and 3.5 in the hospital. I was told I would probably never walk again, but I am walking now. I have fought through, I have grown through, and I have come out the other side stronger. And I am trying to show other people that they can do the same in their lives, that there's nothing that they have been through that they haven't lived through. So, has there been anything in your life that you have had to grow through?
Yes, there really has. Um, I wrote about it in my book that I just released called "Run Your Life." But 2011, it was really just a couple of months ago in 2011. My our youngest daughter came into our room one morning and let us know that she was leaving for cross country practice. It was about 5:30 in the morning, and I thought, man alive, who you running with? Found out that she was actually running about 4 miles in the morning by herself. And so I got up and started following her. And we started, the next day I was ready, and I looked down and thought, you ought to run with her. But I'd gotten really disciplined and weighed 255 pounds. I'd lost
Yeah.
20 pounds. But so I started running and losing weight, and really had a great journey with that. And then almost a year later, mine was because a friend of mine had a motorcycle accident. When I was helping him clean up that motorcycle and move it, get it loaded, I injured my back so badly that that was the end of May. And about the second week in June, it just progressively got worse. And so I got to the point where I could barely walk, 15 or 20 feet. Wasn't able to sleep at night. They did all the stuff, all the therapy, decompression, just tried everything, the shots to relieve the pressure in my back. And I just knew I didn't know anybody who'd had back surgery that had gone well. And so I thought, I'm going to do everything I can to avoid that. And finally, it just seemed like nothing was going to work. So I had the back surgery actually the day before my birthday in 2012. And, happy birthday. Woke up
Yeah.
laid out in the hospital or back at home in the bed recovering. And then 2 weeks later, when I went for the checkup, the doctor said, it didn't work. We're going to have to do this again. And I just thought, there's no way. I'm not doing that again. And so it was really one of those moments that I would say really transitioned a lot in my life, because I was still sleeping about 2.5, 3, 4 hours a night. They said I would never run again. I'd never ride a motorcycle again.
Wow.
Lift anything. Usually I could go to work, and by about 2 or 2:30, the pain was so much I had to go home. And so it became one of those moments where I really had to check what was deep inside of me. And it was then that I decided, you know what? I may not like the pain, but I can't change that. And so I've said a lot of times since then, we don't get to choose what happens to us. We get to choose how we go through it. And so it was really, that point where I just said, I'm going to do whatever it takes to learn to live with this and to overcome it and not be defined by it and not be limited by it.
A lot of people go through circumstances that's all right. We'll just say such as your back, and they let that define them, and they use that as an excuse of why they can't do so many things in life, but they need to just get over it. That sounds insensitive as crap, but they just need to get over it. They need to move on with their lives. They need to realize that there's more to life than just making excuses for everything. And I realize things can be hard.
No doubt.
Things can be extremely difficult at times. But you know what? As human beings, we can do hard work.
For sure.
We were made for hard work. And I don't know. I like to try and push people beyond their comfort zone, and where they're living is in that comfort zone, and no growth happens there.
Man, I couldn't agree with you more. And I think, one of the challenges is when you're in the middle of that, other people can say that, but it's really what you say to yourself. I'm a John Gordon fan, and he says you need to quit listening to yourself and start talking to yourself. And I've really found that to be true, I'm still a runner. And that was part of this journey back is, they said you'll never run again. And I like a good challenge. So I thought, not only am I going to deal with the pain, I can remember it was April the 11th, 2012 that I ran a mile for the first time. And it was like I'd never run it again. It was after the surgery. And that was my goal. I'd run my first 5K before I injured my back. And my goal was, with surgery and them wanting to do it again, my goal was I'm going to run the exact same 5K on Memorial Day. I'm going to run it. I'm going to run it faster than I did the year before. And it really is so important to start with a why that matters to you. It's not something outside that somebody else wants or thinks, or what they pour into you, or what they challenge you with. It's something that matters to you. And I think that's the first key to overcoming.
Yeah, we have to make things matter to us. That is so true. There are goals that are long-term goals that will benefit us in the long run, but there are goals that are temporary goals, such as, all right, let's say you tell yourself, I'm gonna lose 20 pounds. That's all fine and dandy. I'm glad that you set that goal. But you see, once you lose that 20 pounds, what are you going to do?
Yeah. And most people just go right back or even more.
Yeah, and then they're going to have to set a new goal of we need to lose 30 pounds the next time. And then they're going to lose that 30 pounds and then they're going right back to everything that they did before. I find that to be great. I mean, I was taught about these goals from one of my coaches, and
Mhm.
he says that I forget what he calls them, but it's very, very poignant once you understand that. So I want to take a second here and say hello to Scott Wasabi. Nice, interesting last name. And hi to Jeff Grimes. And hi to Adam from the UK. And Adam says, hey, Jeff. Hey, Ray. Congratulations on 35 years of business and bringing such productivity, changing people's lives.
Thanks.
And then we'll see what else Adam. He's a big talker. I like that Ray. We get thrown a lot of bad situations and bad things, but it's how we navigate it and we use it to the best of our situation.
Mhm.
And then he says, at what point did you start to doubt the doctor saying you won't run again? And was your mindset crucial? Did you have any therapy mentally also?
That's a great question. It really was the. I think I've always been a person that if you tell me I can't do something, I'm more driven to do it. But it really was in that moment of I thought, well, the surgery didn't work. So if I do it again, is it going to work? Was there something wrong with the doctor? Is there something wrong with me? And, the variables, not knowing what the answer was, just making a decision and going, you know what? I'm going to be stronger than the pain. I'm not going to, like I said before, I'm not going to be defined by it. And I'm going to do my best not to be limited by it. I still live with pain every single day of my life, but it's just a
Oh,
decision to go, I'm not going to let that stop me. There's sometimes it slows me down, and honestly, there are some days where it's really painful, and it's really hard, and I'm not as active as I want to be. But it's still this commitment to go. Yeah, I'm going to keep doing that. And then as far as the mindset, I kind of grew up in that world, being in business, and my dad was in business, and all my family members were, and really grew up learning and knowing that our mindset was super important and that's just been something I've stayed with consistently. And it has during this journey even increased more. And I've seen more and more how important what we think, what we say to ourselves, what we believe about ourselves, and about the things we face, how important they are, and how they either spur us on to do more or they kind of act as an anchor or reins on a horse, pulling us back and keeping us from experiencing our full potential. And so I think that's a great question. And for me, it really was that moment to go, hey, there's something more inside of me. I'm stronger than this. I'm more capable than what I've been. And it's man, that's a message I wish I could get so many other people to believe, because the truth is it's easy for us to fall into the victim mode. And all these things happen to me. And it's become kind of cliche. I hear people like Ed Milet and Brandon Bouchard, and a lot of them say things don't happen to you, they happen for you. But that mindset really is powerful to go, this is not the end of the story. One of my mentors is John Maxwell, and he says that a bend in the road is not the end of the road unless you fail to make the turn. And
Yeah.
so I love that point of going, we don't get to control what happens. I mean, if we did, our lives would be very different, but they'd also be pretty boring. I mean, you talked about the comfort zones and the things we fall into doing over and over and over, and that the real joy of life and the real experiences and the real growth come when we're pushed out of our comfort zones. And so, yeah, mindset is incredibly important.
Awesome. Then, did you have any mental therapy as well? I mean, did you go to a counselor or a therapist or anything?
I didn't go to a professional. I've got some training in that area, and so I relied a lot on it. And then I just had a strong network of friends that, I mean, we've been through a lot of stuff over the years, and I was intentional about being surrounded by them, and they were intentional about encouraging me and, you know, believing in me and supporting me. And so I think they made the biggest difference. But I didn't at that time did not have a coach or a therapist to work with.
You know, one thing that my parents, all right, so my parents never left me alone in that hospital.
Mhm.
All 3.5 months I was there, even the 2.5 months that I was in a coma and did not respond to anybody or anything. So, but I have to give them props for that. But I remember them saying that the first day that I got in the hospital, or very close thereafter, they told all the doctors and nurses, look, there will be no negativity in that
Mm.
room. If you're going to talk negative things,
Wow.
you have to go outside to talk those negative things.
Yeah.
And I think that really benefited me
Oh, no
because
doubt. What great parents, and what a great position to take early.
yeah, I just I don't know, it's something that I appreciate. So I have to ask, what is one thing that going through all that pain has taught you about life?
I think it is a thing I've already touched on, that there is so much more to us. It's one of the things I've said to my girls, I've said to my wife, and then in a lot of coaching experiences, it's worked its way into a lot of my speaking opportunities. Is I've told them, if you believe in you half as much as I believe in you, you'd believe in you twice as much as you do. You know, it's I think we all start off with big dreams. I grew up right off the runway of a local Air Force base, and I can remember being 5, 6, 7 years old and looking up at the sky and going, you know, one day I'm going to be an Air Force pilot. Well, that never happened. You know, there were life happened, and people like to rain on our parades and say, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not athletic enough, you don't have what it takes to do that. And we kind of put these limits on us, and it's very hard. You know, another thing John Maxwell has said that really helped me a lot was, even with my own kids and now my grandkids, the number of times they hear no compared to yes. And we live in such a no world. No, you can't do this, and no, you can't do that. And we've got it in ourselves. I don't know where yours is. I get a voice sometimes, feels like it's right back here at the back of my head saying, you know, you're not going to be able to do that. You're not good enough. You're not strong enough. You're not smart enough. And being able to push that aside and say, you know what? There is more inside of me. And then I'm a believer. I respect people of any or no faith, but my faith in God has really been what I've relied on a lot, to say that He's given me a great strength. And that faith has seen me through a lot of situations that, you know, I've wondered, hey, could I have made it without it? And I don't know how to answer that question, but I know how important it has been for me in facing and overcoming the things that I faced. And so, yeah, it's so huge to go, you are just so capable. And it's amazing. Other people can see it in us better than we can see it in ourselves. And so
Yeah.
we need some people around who be strong encouragement.
Yeah, so I see that we have 6 people watching us live right now. So I need you guys to do me a favor. I need you all to hit that like button right now. Just let me see those likes go up because we only have 2 likes. So can you make that go up to 5 likes? I would appreciate that.
And then go
Very
ahead and forget likes. Let's go all out. Give us some love. Hit that
good.
heart button and then hit the share button.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
So
Let's
thank
don't
you
settle
so
for
much.
low
I
key.
appreciate that. But I know that there are a lot of people out there that are going through something, going through all kinds
Mhm.
of things that they aren't able to control. And then they don't react the best to
Mm,
those things.
yeah.
So, what can you tell somebody that is going through a really difficult time and they can't see a way out?
Mm. Yeah, I think it's important just to take the next step and then take another step. And this was one of the biggest things for me that helped keep me going, because there are setbacks and there are disappointments and there's frustration and things. I mean, I hear people say, "Hey, if everything works out," and I just kind of smile and laugh and go, "When's the last time everything worked out?" I mean, it's like that never happens. But one of the things I think it is that you set yourself up for some wins even early in the day. I think it's important to have some wins every day. And so set yourself up for some easy wins, but build on those. And so when you see some progress, and sometimes it's just, man, when I was losing weight, it was some days it was I got on the scales and I was initially frustrated, like I didn't lose any weight. And instead of helping me, that hurt me. And so I'd get on and go, yes, I didn't gain weight yesterday. And so that's a good thing. And finding something good every single time, celebrating the win, I think really fuels the fire. It helps us to build on it and build momentum. And that's exactly the opposite of what happens. It's easy for us to look at the gap. Here's where I am and here's where I want to go. And there's such a gap in between there. Instead of saying, the smallest of progress matters. And if you just keep doing it day after day after day, we don't have many trees in my part of West Texas where I live. But if there was a big old tree in my front yard, and I wouldn't because we don't have enough, but if I wanted to cut it down and I had to cut it down by myself and all I had was an axe, if I went out there, sharpened that axe up, and I just hacked on it 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, and then I'm tired, I got blisters, something else comes up, I could look at it and go, Ray, what are you doing? It didn't make any difference. But if I go out the next day and the next day and the next day, and I just hack away at it, knowing that if I'll just keep putting in the reps, if I'll just keep taking the right actions and I'll do it consistently over time, that tree's going to fall down. Guaranteed, it can't help but fall down because I'm doing the little steps. And so I think it is to set it up, little steps, see the wins, celebrate those, and then keep doing it with consistency. And I really don't believe there's anything. I can remember the first time I'm going to walk from my house to the curb. And it was 28 feet. I know how far it was. And it hurt. And I wanted to give up, but I thought, you're never going to get that goal if you don't get 28 feet. And then it was walk around. We lived in a cul-de-sac. So I'm going to walk all the way around it. And then I walked to the end of the block and back. And then I walked to the end of the block and took a right and went 2 more blocks. And it was just pushing it a little more and a little more and a little more, day after day after day. And since then, it was one of the coolest things about my story. And it actually just happened 5 years ago yesterday. It was in New York City that I ended up in a wheelchair. It just wasn't working. And 5 years ago, I ran and finished the New York City Marathon, 26.2 miles in the same city that I was in that wheelchair. And I spent the last 6 miles of it just crying, because it's like, man, what a journey, come so far. And I don't think it's just because of me. I don't think I'm special. I don't think I'm extraordinary, but I do think my story can inspire a lot of people to say, I'm capable of so much more. And that's my plaque that all my medals hang on, is overcomer. That whatever it is, you can overcome. You may need help. It may take longer than you want it to, but you can overcome. So just keep going.
That deserves
Thanks.
a round of applause. I'm so inspired by hearing that right there. So I heard you talking a little bit about a book earlier. Can you tell us a little bit about that book and where we could possibly get a hold of that book?
It's called Run Your Life. I'm sorry, this is backwards. Run Your Life, and it's taking control of your life and business. It's on Amazon. If you just put in Ray Run Your Life and Ray Young, it'll pop up. And it's a short book, but whether you're a runner or not, there are some lessons in there that apply to everyone. And it's about saying, I'm not going to let life happen to me. I'm going to make a decision. I'm going to be intentional. I'm going to take control. I'm going to be responsible for myself. And it really is, I think, a game plan for how to run your life, how to run your business, how to do so much better, how to be an overcomer. And it starts with, and we already mentioned it, start with a why. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks you should do, how you should live, all of those things. It's got to matter to you. As if the motivation is external, it only lasts for a little bit. It's like I've got a friend who had a heart attack recently. It's been a couple of years ago now, but he immediately, I mean, he changed all of his eating habits. He was exercising. He lost weight like crazy. But then after that external motivation wore off, after he got used to it and got good checkup after good checkup after good checkup, his weight's gone up and up and up and up. And I saw him Saturday, and he now weighs more than he did 2 years ago before he had the heart attack.
That's too bad.
His why was the fear. Now we get used to fear or shame or guilt or what somebody else thinks. So it's got to be a why that matters to you. And then it's so important to find someone else to take a journey with, whether it's to encourage us, to be accountable to, who will go through that journey with us. And the truth is, everywhere we look, somebody's struggling with something. And we don't have to even have the same goals. We don't have to have the same struggles, but
Oh,
just someone else saying, I believe in you. You can do this. You've got this. That when we're down, they pull us up. And when they're down, we pull them up. And so I think it's so important to share that journey with other people. I've already mentioned one of them. It's vital to celebrate every win. That's the fuel that keeps us going. And if all we can do is notice it's not enough, it's not good enough. I mean, that could be the mantra of our age, is nobody feels like they're enough. Nobody
yeah.
feels like what they do is good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not, handsome or pretty enough. I'm not thin enough. I'm not athletic enough. I don't have enough money, whatever. But take all that out and celebrate the wins. The fourth one is that you've got to believe, that you got to believe you can. Uh, I've been a Deion Sanders fan for a long time, and his word for the Colorado Buffaloes, although I'm not going to be a fan this week because they're coming to my hometown to play our local college, and so I'm still going to be a fan for him, but I hope he loses. But his word, it's on his shirts, it's everywhere, is just believe, believe, believe. And people
Yeah.
go, Coach, how can you believe when you just got beat? And he said, I believe we're building something. We're going to be better. We're going to win. And this is part of it. So believing that you can, and then having, and I think this is what you mentioned, having a training plan that it's not the whole thing, because it gets too big and it gets too hard and it takes too long. But if we've got a lot of incremental goals along the way, then when we get there, like you said, you lose 20 pounds. Hey, that's a huge deal. But you've got a bigger dream. And so going to that just keeps us going. I think it's vital that we make time. Time is the most precious commodity anyone has. And if we're not intentional about the way we use our time, then we will never have time. There you go. Never
Make
miss it.
it make every
Yeah.
second count.
There you go. And then the last two are, you got to have those very specific goals, and you've got to imagine them as if they're reality right now, and then just be ready for this. If you're going to overcome, if you're going to win, if you're going to make every second count, then you've got to fight for it. Sometimes it's good, and sometimes it just takes everything you've got, and it will feel like it takes more than what you've got. But you've got to keep fighting. You've got to keep pushing. You cannot give up. Because when you give up, you go all the way back. You've come so far. This is not the time to quit.
Yeah,
So,
that's so great. I say that all the time, that not to give up on yourself. And
uh,
I have a great story about that, but I'm not going to share it tonight because this show is about you. But I have to ask one other thing. That is, do you have any contact information you would like to give out?
You can find me. My website's rayyoungspeaker.com. On Facebook, I'm rayyoung.2. On Instagram, I'm the number 4 RAY2. But I'm on LinkedIn. I'm everywhere. But if you find me on one of them, I think they're all linked somewhere else. And so wherever you go, rayyoungspeaker.com or any of the others, you can find me. I'd love to connect and love to give some encouragement. And then you can surely encourage me as well. So look forward to connecting with your audience.
That is awesome. I'm so happy, and I'm sure that you will hear from either Adam or Ben Bruce. Those are two guys that normally like to follow up. And Adam says that he is really, this has really inspired him, Ray.
Thanks, Adam.
It has really opened his eyes, and as a key runner, he knows that it's easy to fall into your comfort zone and avoid situations, but this has really opened his eyes to breaking it all down. So I think you're doing a great job, Ray.
Thank you.
I definitely want to say thank you again for coming on here tonight. I know you have reached somebody. I know Adam for one, but I know you've really reached me too. So I
Well,
thank you for taking the
thank you. I
time.
appreciate the invitation and appreciate you sharing this platform and your message to really impact the world. You're doing a great job, and I can't wait to learn more about your story of overcoming from that car wreck. So
Thank you.
we'll have to share that soon.
Yep, I definitely will do that.
All
Thank
right.
you so much, Ray. You have a fantastic evening. All right.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Everybody out there, including you, Ray, actually need to do me a favor this week, next week, and for the rest of your life. I need you to make every second count. Why? Because you never know when the seconds will run out on your one life. Guys, I'll see you back here next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And until then, have a fantastic week. Thanks.
Thanks.